He called me into his office at 4:30 on a Friday afternoon and told me my position was being eliminated. By 11 a.m. on Monday morning, I was calling his direct line, pitching him as a prospective client. Within one weekend, the termination he intended as a career ending became the starting point for my new business. For 6 years, I worked in B2B sales. I maintained a consistent record, delivering performance that hit every quarterly target for 3 years straight. My manager, let's call him Paul, was territorial. He managed up to the executive team brilliantly, but he managed his direct reports poorly whenever he felt threatened by their results. This chart shows a solid wall of sales growth. For years, those numbers were my defense. But data only protects you as long as the person reading it values the math more than their own ego. That protection vanished when the company announced a restructuring. Organizations use that word to make targeted departures look structural. My role, along with 3 others in different departments, was cut that afternoon. In modern corporate structures, exceeding your targets buys you time. It does not buy you loyalty. When I packed my desk that Friday, I felt calm. I had been expecting that conversation for 6 months. Working under Paul made it clear that my safety in that position was strictly conditional. Relying on his goodwill was a risk I wasn't willing to take. I spent half a year quietly cultivating a professional relationship with a contact at a competitor agency. I shared no secrets and poached no clients. I simply built a bridge before I needed to cross it. You do not build career leverage during an active emergency. You build it in secret, long before the disaster actually strikes. Because the lifeboat was already built, Friday night was a time for execution rather than panic. I called my contact at the competing agency. Because my reputation was already established, the conversation moved rapidly from a catch-up to a concrete offer. By Sunday afternoon, we had hammered out the outline of a consultancy contract for business development, leveraging 6 months of pre-existing trust. This timeline tracks the progression of that weekend. From the Friday 5 p.m. termination, we cleared every negotiation milestone in under 3 days, resulting in a signed agreement and a new corporate email address by Monday at 9 a.m. Turning a career around in 72 hours looks like luck to an outsider. In reality, it is the immediate deployment of stored potential. The first task at my new firm was to tackle their target prospect list. The primary decision maker at the top of that list happened to be Paul. At 11 a.m., I dialed his number. His assistant put me through. When he realized who was calling him and who I was now representing, the silence on the line stretched for several agonizing seconds. I stayed warm and delivered a professional introduction of our services. By treating him like any other cold prospect, I removed the personal weight of the termination from the conversation. Remaining professionally detached took away his leverage. He no longer had power over my career. He was simply a name on a spreadsheet. The consultancy arrangement became a full-time role within 4 months. Better title, significantly better income. No Paul. This line graph tracks his department's revenue before taking a sharp dip in Q3. His leadership questioned the glaring gap. As the data shows, the line tracking Paul's tenure abruptly terminates. He was forced out 14 months later. I made that phone call because he was a viable lead for my new firm. The fact that it landed on his desk 72 hours after he signed my redundancy paperwork was a matter of timing. Paul thought he was ending my trajectory, but he actually accelerated it. Real security is internal. If prepared, every sudden ending is just someone else's Monday morning.